On Sports Hounds are live, A2D Radio, exclusively on A2DRadio.com. As always, I'm Rob Brinkman. He's Brad Ryer. Frank Vesby behind the scenes producing the show. Of course, the Sports Hounds are brought to you by our doc, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, 3 locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton. He's A2D's doctor. Make him yours too. Also brought to you by Ambuck Services, 856-879-5530. They are the gutter and deck experts of South Jersey. Give them a call, 856-879-5530. We are streaming live on Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, YouTube. If you miss any of the live content here on A2D Radio, stream us in podcast form. Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio. Takeover's real. A2D Radio is everywhere. The fastest growing sports media company in the country. We have sports galore tonight, Brad. We have the Sixers about to lose their first game to the Celtics. The Flyers up 2-1 on the Canadians. We have the hockey playoffs in full force. The Rangers won the draft lottery. They get Alex Lafreniere. The Yankees, Red Sox.
Yankees have beaten them 6 in a row and lead 3-1 in the top of the 5th, I guess.
And the Phillies have a much-needed off day. They've been playing a lot of games since they missed the first part of the season with the COVID scare from the Marlins. They're going to go up to Fenway for 2 games starting tomorrow.
Well, they can feast on that Red Sox pitching staff.
NFL training camp is in full swing. So we got all 4 major sports in action, topical, really for the first time ever here in August. Usually this is like downtime in August, Brad.
Yeah, I mean,
finals are over, the cup's over. You really just got.
I mean, you don't get hockey and basketball at the same time. So right now the Sixers trail the Celtics by 8 with 10.9 seconds to go. So I'd say that's pretty much a done deal with game 1.
Yeah, they stink. They stink. We'll get into the post game reactions on the Sixers because they didn't guard and they couldn't guard me or you on the. Kemba Walker having a great game. Jason Tatum going off. Jaylen Brown going off. Just no one manning up on the perimeter. It was really kind of pathetic to watch. They had a brief moment of lucidity in the third quarter where they went on a big run. They went up.
They went on a 13-0 run at the end of the third quarter.
13-0 run, but I mean,
they actually had a 4-point lead to start the fourth quarter, and then the Celtics just.
Well, I'll tell you what. If they're going to play perimeter defense like they played tonight, they are not going to win a game in this series because Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Tatum, and Gordon Hayward, all the great perimeter players on the Celtics are just they're gonna feast like they did tonight. They got to be better on the defensive end. I don't know. I didn't see the start of the game. I don't know if Matisse Thybulle started. I don't know what 5 they went with to start the game, but I know that's a fluid situation as well. I don't know. I don't know about the Sixers in this series. I'd be really surprised if they won a game, Brad.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, they couldn't have played a better third quarter than what they played. And the problem is when they got to crunch time, the Celtics just kind of ran them off the court. I mean, the futility on the last play, I don't know if you saw the last play, the Celtics intercepted the inbounds pass.
Yeah.
I mean.
It's over by then, but I mean,
but it's just
you have the Chevrolet players of the game, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They have 60 points between them. I mean.
Yeah, that can't happen.
You got to man up on someone. And, this is after they let up 50 points to TJ Warren, a journeyman, really, a average player. Averages 20, career highs 30. He's able to drop 50 on the Sixers. You got 2 guys drop basically 30 on him tonight.
That should never happen.
Joe played well, but Horford's a no-show. Matisse is a no-show.
Yeah, he was kind of out of. Yeah, they kind of left him out on the island. Embiid tonight. I mean, they do miss Simmons. Let's be honest. I mean, they don't. His effect guarding on the outside the perimeter defense is just it's lost without him out there. I mean, it's very very apparent that they don't really have an answer for that. So, I mean, unless Boston just doesn't shoot well, the Sixers are going to be in trouble. But yeah, I mean, the Celtics still have their little dry spots during the game, each game, and when they do, then the Sixers will be able.
Which is what happened. Which is what happened tonight.
Yeah, basically, you're right. You're right, and
basically, Brad Stevens took Jason Tatum out of the game to give him a rest. And that's when the Sixers did their damage.
Yeah, and ironically, they did it when Joel Embiid was on the bench.
Right, but I think at least for tonight's standpoint, that Jason Tatum being out trumped.
Yeah, I agree.
Joel Embiid being out that hurt the Celtics more than it hurt the Sixers for tonight.
Yeah.
Usually, when Joe leaves the floor for the Sixers, it's disaster mode. And they actually went on a run tonight.
I mean, you would hope. I mean, it's only one game, so I mean, hopefully Brett Brown can make some adjustments, and the Celtics, they won't get all these easy looks on the outside. I mean,
Lord Walker, Frank, put that comment back up. Sorry, Brad, go ahead.
That's what needs to happen. They need to make some adjustments and be a little bit tougher guarding on the outside. I mean, that's
Lord Walker here on the comments hits the nail right on the head. The defensive mentality and just flat out dogging this team is non-existent. That's because
he hit that in the head. I mean, it's almost like they gave up in the fourth quarter. I mean, at the end, in the last minute of the game.
I'm not going to go that far because they quit. They're just not good enough.
Well, I mean, listen, they should be able to play better defense.
Oh, absolutely. Defense is poor defense.
Defense is a lot. Defense is
deeper than
50% talent, but it's also 50% hustle and
the perimeter defense was a 48-minute fiasco, not a 12-minute fiasco in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, you had a time when in the third quarter when the Celtics were not making shots, and that's when the Sixers were able to get back into the game, and they actually had a 4-point lead going into the fourth quarter, but they got outscored by 14 points. Or they lose that game by 8 points, something like that.
They lost the fourth quarter 34-22, so 12 points.
I mean, yeah, they've got to do better than that. And they also couldn't score either, which doesn't help their cause.
I mean, getting back to Lord Walker's comment, I mean, the defensive mentality and the dog in this team, he signed with Miami in the offseason. I don't know what happened or why he didn't want to play here or why Elton Brand didn't want to bring him back or why they couldn't go to 5 years instead of the 4 years. But this team misses Jimmy Butler. This team
he was a killer at
Jimmy Butler tonight. If you have Jimmy Butler on your team tonight, you win the game. You win the game.
He's a killer. I mean, they just don't have a killer on that team.
Did you know what Jimmy Butler would have done when Jason Tatum got close to 30? He would have put him through the floor because he's
that's a lot of teams need that kind of player though.
Well, the Heat have him now and not the Sixers, and I know I'm beating a dead horse and everyone wants to say, oh, he's a problem everywhere he goes. He's got a bad attitude. Guess what? He's really fucking good.
Really good. Yes, he is. He's a difference maker, and that's they gave the money they should have paid him, and they gave it to Horford, which was just not.
You give it to Horford, and you overpay Tobias because you box yourself in.
Yeah, they
the coaching of this team, the makeup of this team, it just all stinks. It really just all stinks. And
I'll tell you what, if they lose in the first round and they get swept, Brett Brown will not survive that.
I hope not.
No, I mean, if you lose a tough 7-game series to them, you might be able. He might be able to survive that. But if they play 4 games in a row like they did tonight, I don't see how he survives. And he's clearly going to be on the hot
No,
seat.
because this team is soft. This team is soft from the top down. This team is soft, and Brett Brown's going to survive because they're going to give the COVID excuse and they're going to give the Simmons injury excuse. You're getting Brett Brown for 82 games next year. Unless he gets fired. I guess he could get fired midway through. That happens in the NBA sometimes. Hockey, too.
You know what, though? You don't know who's going to possibly be available. If the Sixers are thinking about changing coaches in the offseason, you don't really know who's going to be available. I mean, if somebody becomes available that really suits their eye, I mean, you never know. They may make the move. I mean, you never know.
And Goat James says Sixers in 4. Nerdy sports guys laughing at the Sixers. Ralphie's rubbing it in. How about them Sixers? Lord Walker, the easiest answer to your question is Butler and Brown do not mesh. If Brown wanted him here, he would be here. Brown is a joke. Well, I've been saying Brett Brown's a joke for going on, 3 years now, Brad?
You have not liked him.
Long time.
You have not liked him since day one.
He's just not a good coach.
No, I would agree with you.
He's not a good coach.
I think he's a college coach. I mean,
he would be a great college coach.
Yeah, I think he's a college coach. I just don't think he's an NBA.
You give him a bunch of 3-star recruits, he'll make a deep tourney run at like a mid-major school. Like, give him young kids he can build with over a 4-year period. I bet you he would be really good at that.
Yeah, no, I think he would be. I just don't know that I don't know that coaching grown men would be a strength for him. I just don't. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. But it kind of depends on the next 3 games. Let's see how competitive they are. I mean, listen, they gave the Celtics a good battle, but they're missing one of their 2 superstars, and that it's very hard.
I get it. But what was the narrative going into this season for the Sixers, Brad? The Sixers Conference Finals or bust. If the Sixers didn't get to the Eastern Conference Final, it was time to make a change at coach. Was it not?
No, I don't disagree with you, but there are extenuating circumstances. They don't have one of their 2 superstars. Now,
I know it's always something with this team. It's always something. If Embiid's playing well, then Simmons can't figure it out. If Simmons is hurt, then Embiid's got to carry the thing. If Tobias is playing well, Josh Richardson and Shake Milton are no-shows. It's always something with this team. I'm sick of the excuses. And I know Ben's hurt, and I'm a big Ben guy, and that does hurt. But come on.
Why don't we look at
it's every 10 games this team has a new excuse. It's ridiculous.
Look at the other side of the coin, and that's on the ice. Because certainly on the ice, things are starting to look pretty good.
Yes. And let's get to our poll question. Our poll question is brought to you by Philly Drinkers. PhillyDrinkers.com. Follow them on Facebook. Follow them on Twitter. PhillyDrinkers.com. Click on the A2D Radio collection. Get all your shirts, your swimsuits, your sunglasses, your tumblers, anything and everything we got. Each show has their own show. You like Birds of a Feather on Tuesday night? They got a shirt. You like AM and the PM? They got a shirt. Everyone's got a shirt. Sports Town's got a shirt. We need you, fam. We need you to show up and show out, buy merchandise, be a human billboard for us out there because we need this takeover. This takeover isn't even close to getting even started, and it's already pretty big. So go on Philly Drinkers, buy some merch, be a human billboard, support us here at A2D Radio. So our poll question is, the Flyers are the favorite in the Eastern Conference, Brad. Obviously, they win the other night, 1-0. Carter Hart plays great. They get shellacked on, Friday, 5-0. So it's 2-1. They're up in the series. You got all these other series going on. We can take a minute to kind of reset the NHL playoffs, the Eastern Conference at least. Are the Flyers the favorite in the East? Mr. Hockey, Brad Ryer.
Well, you know what? If you look at, I'm looking at the other 2 teams who, in my opinion, are real good teams in the East, and that's the Boston Bruins and the Tampa Bay Lightning. if the Bruins are not going to have a healthy Pasternak and Tuukka Rask has opted out, and you're going to have Jan Halak,
Yaroslav Halak.
Halak, thank you. The Loch Ness Monster. When he was on the Islanders, he was called the Loch Ness Monster. But if you're going to have those two guys, if you're going to have him playing, you're not going to have Rask. You're not going to have Pasternak. Or Pasternak does play. If he's going to only be a 50% David Pasternak, I don't see how the Bruins. I mean, they're struggling tonight. I mean, they're going to have a real hard time eliminating Carolina, let alone go out and then beat the Flyers. Or excuse me, they would play. It looks like they play the Lightning in the second round because the Lightning are up 3-1, and the Islanders are up 3-0 on the Capitals, and I don't think the Capitals are coming back from that. So I mean, I would look at the next series. How in the world is Boston going to beat a team like Tampa Bay who can score goals in bunches? But getting back to Tampa Bay, if Stamkos is still not ready, if Stamkos doesn't play in a series against the Flyers, I don't know that Tampa Bay can beat them in a 7-game series. They might, but I mean, it's going to be one hell of a series. I like Tampa Bay and the Flyers to play in the conference finals, and I still think right now I have Tampa Bay a little bit ahead of them. And the only reason I do have that is because of the goaltending, and I'm nothing against Carter Hart, but Vasilevsky has won a Vezina trophy, and I mean he's really a great goaltender, and Hart's been good. He had the one game where he was a little suspect, but I mean it wasn't really that game. That game too was not really his fault. The Flyers' defense was horrendous that game.
Oh, if it wasn't for Carter Hart in that game, it could have been 8-9-0.
Yeah, I mean the fifth goal when they took him out after the fourth goal. I mean that goal went in off of a skate. I mean that wasn't his fault either. So I mean, look, do I think the Canadians might win another game in that series? Yeah, they might. But yeah, the worst case scenario, the Flyers beat them 4-2. Now, if they had played a full season, okay, and you had to go 6 games against the Canadians in the first round of the playoffs, you'd be sitting there saying, "Oh yeah, I cannot believe we had to play 6 games in the first round. We're getting stretched out." But you know what? All these teams had all this time off due to the COVID virus. So I mean, these teams are not running out of energy, and they're not going to run out of gas. So that really is going to be as big an effect. As a matter of fact, I think some of these teams, the more games they play, the better they're starting to play. I mean, I think the Flyers actually last night defensively that was as good a defensive game as I've seen played in the National Hockey League this year.
Well, they got back to Flyers hockey, Brad. They had close to 40 hits in the hockey game. They played great defense. Carter Hart just continues to impress me.
He was outstanding, but I mean, let's be honest. The Flyers defensively were really good last night. I mean, they were really good. I mean, they did not allow very many quality scoring opportunities. I mean, right at the end, the Canadians had that 2-on-0, but the problem was the Canadians didn't realize they had a 2-on-0.
Was that the one where the guy fell down?
Yes. Right at the end, they had a 2-on-0, and if the guy would have passed it, the other one would have had an empty net. But it was almost like neither one of them realized that they were coming in 2-on-0. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But give them credit because you know what, the Canadians came out, played hard for their coach. They won that one game, and you know what, they played hard last night. But the Flyers when the Flyers are on top of their game, they're too good defensively. The Canadians don't have enough firepower. What would worry me is when they play against a team like the Islanders. The Islanders do have some more firepower, and Barry Trotz is an extremely good defensive coach. Don't underestimate him. I think the Islanders are going to give them a very good run for their money. And if they have to play Tampa Bay again, I think Tampa Bay is really going to be. It's going to be tough to beat. Tampa Bay seems to have
got Tampa. You think Tampa's the favorite in the East?
Right now, I do. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, talent-wise,
let's throw Boston out. Let's throw Washington out. They're going to be eliminated. Boston, if they don't have Pasternak and Rask, I mean, it's going to be tough for them to beat the Flyers in a 7-game series or the Lightning in a 7-game series.
I don't see how. Yeah, I don't see how. It doesn't matter if they have Pasternak. If they don't have Rask in net, I don't see how they can win a series without him. I mean, that's a huge loss.
Two things that, first off, I'm not concerned because they lost game 2 by a bunch of goals. I'm really not.
It's only one game. And you know what?
They lost the game.
Every team.
What I am concerned about is this team offense. More importantly, this team's power play.
Well, 1 for 25 is.
They're 1 for 25 on the power play. That is not good. Like, they had a 4-minute power play the other night, Brad. They got 1 shot on goal.
Yeah, no, I know. Look. Here's what I'm gonna say about that. Okay, in 2012, when the Bruins won the Stanley Cup, I think they scored 1 or 2 power play goals the entire playoff series. They scored more shorthanded goals than they did power play goals, but they were terrific 5-on-5, and they won the cup. Now, you know, as long as the Flyers don't give up power play goals and they keep it even, then it's not going to be as big a factor. I just don't know that the Flyers' offense is good enough to be able to win games without scoring on the power play.
It's not. I don't think it is at all. Like, especially if I mean, the Canadians, they're scrappy and chippy, so they take penalties.
Yes, they do. But yeah,
you gotta put, like, how about
the Canadians really don't have a sniper on their team. I mean, really, the closest thing they have to a sniper. I mean, they have Gallagher and they have Max Domi, and those guys can put the puck in the net a little bit, but they don't really have that guy. You know, they don't have that 35, 40 goal scorer in their lineup. You know, or a guy that every time he's out on the ice, you have to, you know, you get scared of. They just don't have that, and that to me is a big problem for them. You know, the Canadians, the Flyers on the other hand, you know, Jake Voracek can score a lot of goals if he wants to score a lot of goals. Konechny what's the deal?
Konechny's been non-existent. I don't know where he is.
He's
on. I haven't heard his name once.
He got banged up a little bit in game 2, but he didn't really. You know, he's got to step up his game a little bit too. But again, I think the Flyers are starting to get their rhythm. I think that their strength is their goaltending and their defense, and they can score off the fact that those defensemen are so good at moving the puck. You know, and that's the way Alain Vigneault plays. And by the way, how great an adjustment was that by Alain Vigneault from game 2 to game 3? I mean, that's the value of having a coach. They were able to just shake that off and come out and play a great defensive game, you know, the next game. I mean, that's coaching, Rob, and that's the difference between a good coach in the NHL like Alain Vigneault and a lousy coach in the NBA like Brett Brown. You take a look. You want to take a look at how teams play and how they adjust and that sort of thing. That is the perfect example.
Look at the Phillies. They go out, they get swept, they get embarrassed by the Orioles. They come back against the Mets over the weekend, and they get a sweep.
Yeah, but the Mets are not a very good team this year either. That's the problem. I mean,
neither are the Phillies. So,
well, both of them. I mean, they're both.
We'll take what we can get.
Yeah, the Phillies have been a very up and down team. So we'll see what happens with them. Yeah, the one break the Phillies have is the fact that Atlanta is decimated, and I don't think that they're going to get most of their guys. But they'll probably get Acuna back. I don't know when, but they're going to get him back eventually. But losing Sorokin, to me, that's a killer injury.
Look at the Sixers, 18 turnover. You can't turn the ball over 18 times in playoff basketball. Look at the Celtics; they had 7 turnovers. 7.
And you know, you've said it before, and it's true. You know what? Every time they play the Celtics, Stevens outcoaches Brett Brown. You know, Stevens he's a real good coach. Let's be honest.
Let's get to some comments here. Nerdy sports guy, Tommy Boy, stop defending this mad excuse for a playoff team. The process has failed at least under Brett Brown's coaching. Look, I mean, the process.
I wouldn't say it's failed.
I agree with him. The process is cannot advance any further with Brett Brown as the coach.
No, and they're going to have to make some changes, and they have to decide if they want to continue to build a team around Embiid and Simmons, or if they want to make a change. That they're going to have to make that decision this summer, and over the next couple of months after the season's over. I mean, that's kind of they're going to have to make some decisions, and they're going to be some tough decisions. Lord Walker, I don't know that the Knicks will be good, but Thibodeau is a good defensive-minded coach. But speaking to Patino, I mean, look, I like the hiring of Thibodeau. I do think the Knicks will play better defense because that's been a real problem for the last few years with them. But I mean, the Knicks need a star on the team. They don't have any stars right now. You know, they've got some decent players.
I don't listen to anything Brett Brown has to say ever.
Yeah, well,
the podium right now on my big screen in the background, but I don't care what he has to say. I saw what I needed to see. Does Oscar Lindblom lace it up if we make it to the Cup Finals? I think Oscar Lindblom is going to be.
I don't know about that. You know what? If he hasn't played all season, I don't know that you could just throw him. I mean, you're going to take somebody out who's been playing their asses off the entire playoffs to put him in. I mean, it's not like you're putting. You know, you're not putting. He's not Pasternak. You know, it's not the same thing.
He was leading the Flyers in goals at the time of his cancer diagnosis.
I understand that, but he hasn't played well. He hasn't played since what? Since November.
Yes, really early on.
I mean, to me, that's too. You can't throw him in the Stanley Cup Finals. You're asking an awful lot to do that with somebody. I mean, think about it, Rob. You haven't played all season. You haven't played in 8 months. Okay, no, excuse me, 10 months. Okay, you overcame cancer, and yeah, you've been practicing and everything. But if you're talking about bringing him back for the Stanley Cup Finals, I mean, that level, you really want to bring the guy back to that level of play when he hasn't played, and everybody else is in prime condition, you know, and ready to go. I don't know that that's really fair to the kid to do that. But I mean, look, if they think he's ready to play, he's going to play. I just don't know who you're going to sit down right now. I think a lot of guys are playing pretty well right
now. Big Al, Ralphie, Big Al, the solid 6 points tonight. Yeah, I mean, I hated the Al Horford signing when it happened. Absolutely nothing has changed my mind since. Al Horford was a terrible, tremendous waste of money.
That's a tough mistake because they're going to have to live with that for a while.
Yeah, he's going nowhere.
On the cap. I mean, what's going to end up happening with him is they're going to have to trade him to somebody and give up a couple of draft picks to get somebody to take him. I mean, that's really what it's going to take, Rob. I mean, don't you think so?
I can't even.
A guy like him. I mean,
I can't even wrap my head.
You'd have to give up your first round pick.
I hate that signing so much. I hated it.
Yeah, it's not. It just
everyone said we were going to play bully ball with the two centers, and guess what? You don't play bully ball anymore in the NBA. It's not 1990.
Let me tell you. First of all, nobody plays with two centers. It never ever works. I can give you a lot of examples of it not working. Okay, I'll go back tonight to the Knicks in the '60s when they had two Hall of Fame centers on their team, and they couldn't play them together. That was Walt Bellamy and Willis Reed, and they had to trade Bellamy. Okay, the Houston Rockets had Akeem Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson.
That's right.
It didn't work. And then the Knicks had Bill Cartwright and Patrick Ewing. Okay, the Twin Towers. That didn't work either. I mean, I've seen enough of that. I've seen enough of that scenario. And I just named 3. I'm sure there's a lot more. Okay, but I've seen 3 scenarios where the Twin Towers don't necessarily work. You know, it just doesn't. It's not a way to win basketball because especially in 2020, these guys are all 3-point shooters and you either dunk or get a three. That seems to be what the NBA arsenal is these days. So I don't see how it could possibly work. I thought that was a dumb idea, to be quite honest. I mean, I would have gone for some more 3-point shooting.
Yeah, especially when you have Ben Simmons, who is deathly afraid of shooting the basketball. He just doesn't do it unless it's on Instagram or YouTube or whatever he's making threes on, because they ain't in the basketball games. They ain't in the playoffs.
But at least he can go to but he can go to the basket and get dunks because he's quick and he's strong. I mean then
he's got to play off ball because he doesn't want to shoot the ball, and then he pouts and moans the whole time and fouls out, and it's just a big old sour puss, and it doesn't do anything to help you win.
Well, he plays great defense.
Ben really disappointed me. I had such high hopes for Ben coming out of the quarantine, and boy, he really laid an egg. He didn't play well. He was disinterested in helping the team in his new role, his point forward, power forward role. He played poor defense, and then he got himself hurt. I couldn't be more disappointed in a Philadelphia sports athlete than I am in Ben Simmons right now.
Jason Bennett wants to know if you would trade Ben for Booker.
Devin Booker's really good. But I can't really do that because
a good player on a bad team is tough. It's tough though, Rob. When a good player on a bad team.
But now they don't have. But Brad, now they don't have Ben to run the point and Shake Milton, Josh Richardson, and whoever else is bringing the ball up. They're turnover machines. So no, I can't trade Ben, and I can't trade Ben unless I have a solid point guard that's not going to turn the basketball over in every big spot. So I can't do that. I would love to add Devin Booker somehow because he's perfect. He's just a sniper assassin on the wing. That's desperately what this team needs. But I can't trade Ben for Devin Booker.
Yeah, I don't know that would be the right move either. I mean, I don't know how that really improves the team. Because don't forget, you have to play both ends of the court. And the one thing Ben does do, and you saw it, you saw the lack of it tonight, is play perimeter defense. That is the one thing he does.
Perimeter defense was atrocious tonight, and Lord Walker hit it right on the head. This team has they got no dog. They got no dog in them.
Well, they had dog in them when they played at home, but the problem is there are no home games now. All these games are in a neutral court with no fans, and that's the problem when teams are that good at home, and now you're playing all these neutral site games. It's tough, and I don't know that it's going to get any better for them. The problem is right now. I think right now it's a terrible matchup for them against
Game 2. Bob Brinkman, Richardson dribbles way too much. Richardson does dribble way too much. Josh Richardson is an athlete slasher who should not be playing in any capacity, be your primary ball handler ever. Period. End of story. I don't understand why they're letting him just dribble the shot clock away when they let him bring the ball up. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Well, he hangs on to the ball. He hangs on to the ball until there's not that much time left, and by the time they get into their set, then they're rushing their shots, which is not the way you want to do it.
How much more of a return to similar pastures for Brown than doing a flashback to Robinson Duncan, or if you want to go back? I mean, that's a good point by Lord. That's probably the only one that's worked. Duncan and Robinson.
Yeah, that did work. He's right. But also Duncan won. But how many championships did Duncan win without Robinson?
A lot. Duncan was a freak.
Yeah, I mean they won one. But I mean basically, Robinson was sort of at the end of his career at that point. Not at the end, but he was.
Yeah, I think David Robinson. I think they won in 1999, and then David Robinson retired.
Yeah, I mean, he was kind of at the end of his career when they won. Uh, so Duncan was clearly the big dog. And they weren't dominated. A lot of times they weren't playing together either. So I mean, you're talking about putting two guys on the court at the same time. Usually, it doesn't work. But I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
Jason Bennett wants to get Zach LaVine. You want to get Zach LaVine with what money? You're paying Tobias Harris $180 million.
Yeah, you're over the cap. You're already over the cap. You can't.
You're paying Al Horford $110 million. You're paying Ben big money, and you're paying Joe big money. You have no money to get Zach LaVine. And I like Zach LaVine. He's a nice little player. But
they would have to trade one of those guys that's making.
Zach LaVine's about to make a lot of money in free agency, and the Sixers they don't have the money. They spent all their money last year. Not very smart, mind you, in my opinion, at least.
When do some of these guys start coming off the books for them, or is it going to be a while?
Oh, it's why Horford and Tobias are the bugaboos. They just signed last offseason.
So they're going to be, they're going to be.
The Sixers are stuck. They have who they have.
So they're going to have to make. They're going to have to make a trade where they could trade somebody and maybe and get lucky.
I can't trade Ben or Joe. I can't do it. Unless I'm getting like Giannis.
Wow.
The Bucks would obviously never do.
That's not gonna happen. Milwaukee's never gonna let him go. I know he's going to be a free agent in a couple of years, but you know what? I think he likes Milwaukee. From everything I've heard, he likes Milwaukee, so I can't see him going anywhere.
All right, Anthony Oddies, we got a Brett apologist. I love Brett apologists. I'm sick of everyone blaming Brett Brown. I blame GM, coaches, and players. They all should be accountable for the Sixers. The Sixers need a true point guard that'd be a true leader and vocal and take over games for the Sixers because everyone knows Embiid and Simmons are not leaders.
Yeah, well,
I agree with the Ben and Joe not being leaders part. I agree with that. That's why you had Jimmy last year and you let him right out the door. Like, it just makes no sense to me that Jimmy Butler's not on this team. I don't understand it at all.
Well, I think he didn't really want to play here.
Something was up. Something was up. Whether they didn't like
something happened.
Period.
It definitely wasn't the Sixer fans because the Sixer fans treated him great. So it wasn't the fans. It was something must have happened with him and Brett Brown, or with Brand. I don't know, or maybe he wasn't getting along with the teammates. I don't know. Something happened there that got him to leave because that was just a weird thing. I don't honestly think that in their hearts of hearts they really wanted him to go. I mean, that wouldn't have made any sense.
Where was that hockey question? Well, Goat James, here it is. Goat James, checking in on YouTube. Never seen Goat James before, so thank you for tuning in. How far do you think the Knights can make it?
They can go to the finals.
They're playing really good.
They can absolutely. Listen, the one thing about the Knights is they play well defensively, and when their goaltender is on top of his game, and we're talking about Fleury, of course. We've seen how good he can be. And that is a well-coached team that plays real well defensively, and they are fast. I mean, they really are. And if you're asking if they can go back to the finals, I think they can. I mean, I still like Colorado, and Colorado certainly gave us no reason today to doubt just how good that team is.
7-1.
They put a beatdown.
Thrashing of the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah, that was a beatdown.
So, who are the Knights the favorites in the West, Brad, or is it Colorado?
I've been saying all year Colorado, and I'm not backing off of that one. I love Colorado in that division. Colorado could very well be the team to beat. Especially, one thing about that team, they got a huge break with the COVID thing because their top two goalies were injured at the time the playoffs would have started. They would have not had those two goalies, and they would have had their third goalie. I think their third goalie was Pickering or something like that. I think that was the guy's name that would have been playing, and instead of having Grubauer, what the hell's his name? Grubauer, they got the guy from the Capitals, their backup goalie, who was really good, by the way. And I'll tell you what, here's an interesting one for you. You're going to have some goaltenders as free agents this summer, and one of them is going to be Braden Holtby. Grubauer is the guy's name, the one on Colorado. But Braden Holtby is going to be a free agent this year. I wonder who will grab him.
I'll tell you who needs him: the Toronto Maple Leafs.
But they can't afford him.
I know they can't afford him because they're paying Marner and
they are only $3 million under the cap this year, going into the off season, and they've got a bunch of guys that they have to re-sign. They're going to be making some trades because they have too many offensive players. They don't have a goalie. And if you remember, I told you I didn't like Frederik Andersen.
Well, they're going to just win all these regular season games because they score a bunch of goals. But then when push comes to shove,
do that in the playoffs. When you play against the top teams are gonna go out there and they're gonna hit you and they're not gonna let you score a lot of goals. And they're gonna go out there and they're gonna get physical with you and they're gonna score a lot of goals against you if you don't have the goaltending. So I've heard some rumors today that Henrik Lundqvist may go out there and get traded to the Leafs, where the Rangers keep half of his salary. That way, he'd only be making the Leafs would only be responsible for $4 million, and they'd have themselves a goalie for a year because they do have guys in the minors who they feel are going to be ready in a couple of years. So Henrik, don't be surprised, folks, if Henrik does decide to stay in the NHL and the Rangers buy him out, if he ends up in Toronto, because that would be a good spot for him. Now, how well he would play behind that defense, I don't know. I mean, that's a question only time will tell. But that's certainly a thought. I don't think the Rangers would give him Georgiev. I think they want to keep him. He's a good young goalie, and I know they like him.
All right, what's happened to the Capitals? They're down 3-0. The Islanders have really just taken it to them.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I think is the issue there. I think the issue is Barry Trotz coached that team for a long, long time, and he knows that team inside out. And you know what? I think he's got a team that basically plays the same way as the Capitals. They're a defensive type of team that has the one superstar goal scorer in Matthew Barzal. And again, they play the same type of game the Capitals do, but they're younger and they're faster. And I think the Capitals' age is starting to show. Just like the Penguins, I kept telling you about the Penguins that one of these years they're gonna fall apart. Well, you know what? This year they lose in the qualifying round. I mean, how shocking is that? But that's it. I think they're done. I think the Capitals got to start thinking real hard about a rebuild. And the Penguins, you know what? I think they have one more year to try to win with Crosby and Malkin. And I think after next year, I think they've got to start thinking about rebuilding again.
Don19 wants to know who I got in the NBA Finals. I got the Lakers winning the Finals. I have no feel for the East.
You know what? You got to go with Milwaukee. You got to go.
I like Miami a lot. I like Miami a lot with Jimmy and Spoelstra and Abadayu and Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Dragic. Good team. I'll go with the Lakers and the Heat.
Yeah, I would have to go Lakers Bucks. I mean I got to tell you, I was pretty impressed with what the Raptors did to Brooklyn today. That was a
dismantling.
Yeah, the Raptors. I'll tell you what. There's a team. They lose arguably one of the top 5 players in the league, and the beat just goes on. They continue to play very good team basketball, and they're looking real good. I mean,
Nick Nurse is a terrific coach.
Yeah, and they'll get out of the first round for sure. Now I don't know once they have to play a team with a team like Milwaukee.
Well, they're going to have to play the winner of the Celtics and the Sixers.
Yeah, I think this. You know what? I think the Raptors could beat the Celtics.
I agree.
I think they could beat the Celtics. I don't think they could beat the Bucks. The Bucks, it's too hard because you know what? Giannis is so good that I mean he clogs up the middle, so you really can't go in. You can't get inside. You've got to shoot a lot of outside shots with him, and it's hard if you can't score points in the paint to complement your outside shooting. It's tough because you can't just live and die with the three all the time. I mean, look, Mike D'Antoni is a perfect example as a coach. Every team that he coaches, that's what they always try to do, and he's never won an NBA championship. And I'm under the same impression.
Never will.
You can't. Listen, you can be a competitive team, but you're never going to win a championship just chucking threes all the time. They say he who lives by the three dies by the three. And even when you have really good 3-point shooters like Houston does, you're not going to make every shot. Those are long shots. There's a reason why they're 3-point shots, because if you make a shot from that far out, you get 3 points. Well, they're not layups.
Oh, the Flyers comment here. TK has been right there. He's hit the post 4 times in 3 games. Just wait, he'll get hot. G is very concerning. I also want to see Hazy and Coots taking more shots. I agree on the Kevin Hayes and Coots.
Well, you know what, Hayes, and I'm going to tell you something about Hayes. I know he had a great year.
Giroux got an assist on the only goal last night. I mean,
the one thing, and as a Ranger fan, my biggest gripe with Kevin Hayes was that he did not go in front of the net enough. I mean, with all that size and all that strength, he should be standing in front of the net a lot more. He likes to get the puck and skate around with it. He really does. He's a good puck possession guy, but you'd really like to see a guy as big as him in front of the net more. Now, I mean, I'm sure you guys have watched him. I mean, has he been getting in front of the net more with Philly, or is he doing the same thing? Because that was what.
I mean, I don't really recall anything before COVID. That's a long time.
I mean, as a Ranger, that was my.
He hasn't done much. He hasn't done much of anything in the first 3 games of the Montreal series. Neither is Sean Couturier.
Well, give Carey Price some credit.
Giroux is just always going to get criticized because he's the captain, and it's Philadelphia, and it's a tough fan base. But I mean,
yeah, true.
Could G be doing more? Like, I guess, but I mean, he got an assist last night on the first. On the only goal, so like he did his part, in my opinion.
And Jason Bennett wants to know if we think Ghost is out of the picture for the Flyers.
Yeah,
I think he is, because Vigneault can't stand guys that are bad defensively. That kind of drives him crazy. So
Ghost is not going to be his cup of tea.
No, he doesn't like guys like that. So
I thought Ghost, he got a nice contract very prematurely from the Philadelphia Flyers as well. I just don't know how good he is.
I mean, he's not bad. He's not bad defensively, but he's not good enough defensively. He's not good enough defensively. That's the problem. I mean, he hasn't been good enough offensively to overcome his defensive shortcomings. If he's scoring 60, 70 points as a defenseman, then you can get over it, or even if he's scoring 50 points as a defenseman, you get over the deficiencies, but if he's not going to score that many points, that's going to be concerning. So, and I think with the Flyers defense right now, and I think they've got guys in the farm system too. I mean, I think he's going to get traded. That would be my opinion. I mean, I think he's good. He's good with the power play, but they're not scoring on the power play right now. So that's an issue too, and that goes directly towards Simmons.
Embiid has almost no touches close to the basket. They got to throw it into him even if he looks covered. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he's almost unstoppable.
you're preaching to the choir. I would find Joel Embiid $500 for every 3-pointer he took. He's not good at them. You shouldn't be shooting them. He's 7 foot fucking three. Get in the post.
Oh, I agree with you. A guy like him should be in the paint.
You want to stretch it out, and you want to shoot some foul line extended jumpers. You want to get a mid range game going. I'm all for that, but you need to establish your dominance down low first, and then work your.
You want him in the paint. He's almost done. Listen, if he gets the ball in the paint and he goes to the basket, he's either going to score.
The only person who can stop Joel Embiid in the paint is Joel Embiid because he doesn't park his ass down there, Brad.
Well, that's a coaching problem. That's a coaching problem. The coach needs to be a little more heavy-handed with him and tell him that's how you want to play. I mean, that's what should be going on with him. And for whatever reason, it doesn't.
Look at Brady freaking out. Then he scored. Shenner. That's the Brett Brown comment. Yeah, Mike Parker, Joe and Ben are shy as fuck. I mean, I agree. I forget who commented earlier that Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons aren't leaders. I 100% agree with that.
Well, as you said, they got rid of the heart and soul of the team when they let Jimmy Butler go, and it's I don't know who's. I mean, obviously it was his choice to leave, but somebody helped him along the way. Somebody kind of packed his bags. I fully believe that, and that was a bad.
Mike Parker, Jimmy knows something. Jimmy said, y'all a bunch of clowns. Yeah, that's clearly what happened. Bob Brinkman, Horford for Buddy Hield, the money works, instant offense. That's not a bad idea. I like Buddy Hield. I like Buddy Hield a lot. And I hate Al Horford. So I would be very much in favor of a deal like that.
That could happen. Yeah, I could see something like that happening. It has to be there. I mean, I just don't know if anybody really. The problem with Horford is he just doesn't have enough offense to his game.
No, because he's 33 years old, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, that's old for the NBA.
Jason Bennett, if we had the same team we put on the court last year, we'd go to the finals. You might be right about that.
Maybe. I think that's a strong possibility.
Don19 said the Raptors look pretty good, which is true, and the Clippers just
really good
in the first quarter. Who cares about the first quarter?
Brooklyn is not. Brooklyn's talent is right now, the talent that they have playing in the playoffs is not really playoff talent. So
no, but there's another team that's going to be better than the Sixers next year.
Well, yeah, when they get Kyrie and
they have Kyrie and Kevin Durant, they're
playing. Yeah,
better than the Sixers. They're going to be way better than the Sixers.
Yeah, and they're going to have Josh Allen, and they're going to have Karis LeVert. I mean, that's going to be that team's going to be.
They might win the whole thing.
That team's going to be formidable next year. So that's
he thinks the Clippers are going to win it all.
That could happen.
That was good.
Yeah, I mean, that could definitely happen. I mean,
I like the Heat in the East a lot. I really do. I love the way they play. I love the way they're coached. I love Jimmy. I love Bam Bam. I love their role players. I love everything about them. They're everything.
Very hard as a Knicks fan to root for the Miami Heat. Just because I can't stand Pat Riley.
Well, you guys had some battles with the Heat in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Lonzo Mourning versus Patrick Ewing and Tim Hardaway, John Starks.
Yep, and the fights with Alonzo Mourning and
Allen Houston, Larry Johnson.
yep, yeah, we had some classic series against them. That's for sure. But the Heat are the ones that won a championship because they got Shaquille O'Neal and the Knicks didn't. So that was the difference back then.
The Knicks missed on a big time free agent or a big time trade target.
You know what? They didn't really because they went and they got Larry Johnson and they got Derek Harper. I mean, they went out and they brought in some good players. Charles Oakley was a good player. Mason was a good player. I mean, they just weren't good enough. That was the problem. And against the Heat, they put themselves in a position to lose that one series where they had the big fight. They put themselves in a position where all those guys got suspended because they lost their minds because Alonzo Mourning was a dirty player, and there were a couple of other guys on that Miami team that were dirty. I can't remember somebody on that team cheap shot at Charlie Ward, and Charlie Ward is, in case you don't.
Oh, it was probably Tim Hardaway or Tim Hardaway.
It wasn't Hardaway. It was I can't remember who it was, but one of their forwards cheap shot at Charlie Ward, and all hell broke loose. Charlie Ward completely lost it, and they ended up getting into a big fight. And Ewing.
Is that when Jeff Van Gundy got punched in the head when he was trying to break it up?
The year he was grabbing. That was the year that he was getting held. That he was holding on to.
Did we lose Brad?
Uh-oh.
Okay. Are we still here? He's back.
Oh, Brad's back.
Oh, boy. All right.
Okay.
Is he back? All right, Brad's back.
I'm back.
All right, cool.
I'm back. So, little update on the Yankee game. They started playing again, and the Red Sox loaded the bases with 2 outs, and then they choked. And then one of the Yankees' backup players hit a home run. So Tyro Estrada, who is playing right now for DJ LeMahieu, hit a home run. So it's 4-1 now. And then the Red Sox left the bases loaded again, and left the bases loaded yet again in the 5th. So yeah, the Red Sox are the Red Sox. They're a bad baseball team this year.
Philly's going up to Fenway for 2 games, Brad. I think maybe we can get.
I think you're going to win 2 games
in a row. Get 5 games in a row, and maybe get some.
I think you're going to win 2 games. I think you're going to score a hell of a lot of runs. Anybody that's in a slump, Luke Voigt just looks like he hit a ball 9 miles just now. So now it's 5-1. So now it's 5-1 Yankees. So the Yankees are going to probably sweep this series. The Boston Red Sox right now are a train wreck. They have absolutely no pitching.
They are 6 and
absolutely.
Boston Red Sox are 6-16. They are in last place by a country mile in the American League East.
And they're going to be 6-17 after tonight because now it is 5-1. And by the way, in spite of all the injuries the Yankees have suffered, believe it or not, they got somebody back today, and that would be Chapman.
Oh, he's going to play. Chapman's going to play.
He was activated. They activated
just to kind of put in perspective how bad the Boston Red Sox are right now. The only team with a worse record than the Boston Red Sox right now is the Pittsburgh Pirates, who I think
the Pirates have better. I'll tell you what, the Pirates have better pitching than the Red Sox ERA right now.
Yeah, but the Pirates' payroll is about what?
Yeah.
The Red Sox is, and they have only have 2 less wins.
Well, to put it this way, the Red Sox ERA, I believe, going into this game was 6.3, and after the Yankees,
their run differential is a -42.
Yeah, after the Yankees win this game, it will be 10 straight wins for the Yankees against the Red Sox, by the way. And the Red Sox would be 6-17, and they would be 10 games out of first place. And if you look at their pitching staff right now, Nate Eovaldi is the ace, and the Yankees banged him to Kingdom Come on Saturday night. And Martin Perez, I guess, is their number 2, and then some guy named Ryan Weber, who's horrible, is number 3. And I don't even know who their number 4 and 5 pitchers are, because
at least the Phillies have starting pitchers I've heard of. You get to the bullpen, and then sometimes guys come in that I've never even heard of or don't know where they came from. But
but at least some of them get out. The Red Sox.
Do they still have the highest payroll, Brad? Do they have the highest payroll in baseball?
No, they traded away. They traded away all their players because they couldn't afford to pay them, I guess. I mean, I don't understand that organization, why they traded David Price and Mookie Betts. I don't understand. They're a big market team. Why they wouldn't have just paid these guys? I mean, it just
they didn't want to lose draft picks.
Yeah, but you can keep your free agents. You don't lose draft picks by signing your own free agents. I mean, Alex Verdugo's a nice player, but geez, he's not Mookie Betts, that's for sure.
No, he's not.
And their pitching staff, Sale had Tommy John.
So he's probably gonna miss. He's probably gonna miss most of next year too.
Yeah, most likely he's probably not going to be back till June or July of next year. Eduardo Rodriguez got COVID, and it messed up his and he has a heart condition anyway, so that just killed him. And then you trade David Price, and I guess that wasn't so bad because David Price opted out anyway.
Right.
But I mean, it amazes me that they went and they let all these guys go, and it just doesn't. It makes no sense to me. And then the guy
Mookie Betts is never a good idea.
No, and you take a look. Devers all of a sudden can't hit the side of a barn. Bogarts is hitting about 250. Verdugo's hitting about 260, 270. And JD Martinez is hitting 230. I mean, was the cheating that important for them that they could, because they couldn't steal the signs, they can't hit now? I mean, you wonder. Look, you take a look at like the Houston hitters, okay, and then you take a look at the Red Sox hitters. The two teams that won championships. And they're not able to cheat anymore, and now all of a sudden they can't hit at all. Springer's hitting like 170. Altuve's hitting like 170. I think Bregman is the only one that's hitting a little bit, and he's hitting about 260. I think Reddick is hitting 280, but Reddick wasn't one of the big cheaters on the team that everybody talks about. Their big stars aren't really hitting. It's weird because it's the same thing with Boston. I mean, you wonder if the cheating had something to do with it. You wonder if Alex Cora not being the manager of that team. I mean, I wonder how much that has to do with it.
They're leaving the door open to all kinds of speculation, and unless they start hitting and they start winning games.
I mean, I'll tell you what.
That's always going to be the narrative.
If the National League is going to have a DH next year, I mean, and I'm just throwing this out there for you Philly fans, would the Phillies be smart to maybe kick the tires on trying to get what's his name?
JD Martinez.
JD Martinez. I mean, wouldn't that be?
He's not doing anything. Phillies need bullpen arms. Jason Bennett, will the Phils make a move or two? I don't know how trades are going to work with this crazy baseball season we have, but you got to move on at least one bullpen arm.
Well, I think what you're going to see happening, Rob, I don't think any expensive players are going to get moved because of the uncertainty of next season. With the fans coming in and everything, but I do think you're going to see a lot of controllable arms getting traded. That I do think you're going to see. I'll tell you one guy who I can definitely see getting traded, and either our Yankees or your Phillies could definitely be after him, is Michael Givens on the Baltimore Orioles. I think that
that would be a perfect. That'd be like a perfect unsung, like wouldn't cost you too much. He's clearly not part of the future there in Baltimore.
Yeah, I think he's like 28 or 29. He still throws hard. He averages 13 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Give him a couple mid-level prospects and let's get it done.
He's a really you're gonna have to probably do better than that because he's a really good relief pitcher. He's like a 7th, 8th inning pitcher with the Orioles. I mean, he could close. I think they're trying to give Suzik the chance to be the closer because I think they're planning to trade Givens. That's one guy I would definitely be looking at. The guy in Pittsburgh, is he hurt? The reliever?
No, he that closer. What was his name? Felipe Vasquez.
Vasquez, yeah, thank you. I couldn't remember.
Well, he got himself in big trouble.
What did he do?
In terms of
did he get in trouble with the law?
Yeah, big time.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I guess he's not gonna. I guess he can forget about him.
Forget about him. I'm gonna look it. I'm gonna look it up real quick because I want to say something.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I want to say something that's not. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, he's facing 21. Yeah, he got charged with like 25 felonies for like having child porn on his computer.
What?
Yeah, he's in big trouble.
Boy, some of these guys, yay. Okay, well, I guess
Sunday for allegedly sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl in 2017.
Oh,
so,
jeez.
Found this. They took his cell phone and his computer, and they found all kinds of bad stuff. So you forget about him.
I'm wondering about some of the players. I'm wondering about with the bullpen. Geez, you know what? Is there anybody left in the Giant bullpen that's any good?
I don't know. Who knows?
I think they're all gone at this point. I mean, if Cincinnati if they keep struggling, you got to wonder if they might trade some of their guys. I mean, they got some pretty good relievers that are underperforming right now.
Boy, they just had those guys. They have guys like Rafael Iglesias and Luis Castillo that just can't seem to take the next step.
Well, part of the problem with the Reds is their bullpen's been terrible. I mean, other than Iglesias, who's really good, the Reds starting pitching has actually been pretty good. It's their bullpen that's been so bad. That's why they haven't really succeeded.
Jason Bennett, Tommy Hunter has pitched better of late. Look,
Tommy Hunter can throw. He can throw the ball.
He stinks, Brad.
He walks too many guys. He's always been that way.
And Joe loves going to him. Joe loves going to this guy. He stinks. Nick Pivetta stinks. Cole Irvin stinks. These guys stink.
Well, they do need.
Hopefully they can make.
Well, as I said, Givens to me would be I would think Givens would be the guy. I'm more American.
It would help tremendously
than the rest of the league, but
because Brad, you look at these National League East standings, and the Phillies haven't gotten going at all yet. They're 8-9. They're 2 games out of first place. It's a little weird right now because the Phillies have only played 17 games, and the Braves, who are in second place, have played 23 games. The Nationals have played 19 games, so they're a few games behind because they had to miss a week because of COVID.
Right.
If they can get like an Adam Morgan, a Jose Alvarez, a Hector Neris, if they can get some of these guys going, if a few of these guys actually take pride in their profession, take pride in their craft, and step up and do their jobs, this team's going to be in the playoffs. I know it's bad right now because every time the bullpen goes in, it's just you're on the edge of your seat, biting your nails, and you just assume the worst is going to happen. But I mean, they're right there. And Bryce and JT Realmuto are carrying this lineup.
And they really are. I mean, Harper is having a tremendous year. And Realmuto's been
no one's helping. No one's helping them. They're getting no help. Reese Hoskins isn't doing anything. Scott Kingery's not doing anything. Adam Hazley got hurt. McCutchen he had some good at-bats the other night. Sunday afternoon, he was able to hit his first home run of the season. So maybe that can get him going. But
Didi's been hitting okay though, right?
He started hot, then he hasn't really done anything since they came back from that layoff. But Brad, I'll tell you what about Didi. He plays a tremendous shortstop.
Yeah, we've been learning about Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres has already made 7 errors this year.
7 errors?
Either 6 or 7.
He's got a cannon for an arm. He's got quick feet. He's got a quick turn on the double play.
Yeah, but he throws. His throws are not his throw. He can throw, but he just doesn't seem to get himself in the proper position to throw.
Didi?
Honestly, yeah, no. Gleyber. If I were them in the off season, if they could find a way to get Didi back and put him at third. I mean, I hate to get rid of Urshela, but I mean, if it's Urshela or Gleyber Torres, I got to keep Gleyber Torres. But I mean,
Gleyber should play second.
What are you going to do with LeMahieu? You going to let him go when he's hitting 400?
No. But how many years did you sign LeMahieu for?
LeMahieu's a free agent after this year. You can't let him go because you know what? He'll end up signing with the Red Sox or the Rays, and you can't. You know that'll happen. So you can't allow that guy to leave.
I don't know. Can you put who plays third? You have Urshela? I mean,
it's playing third, and Urshela's been really good.
Problem to have because
you don't want to. The problem is Urshela
going to come back and bite you. 7 errors. That's a lot of errors. That's not going to be postseason baseball.
That's a problem right now. He seems to have the yips throwing the ball. So hopefully that'll stop. I mean, he's got pretty good range. I mean, that's not an issue. Ron Bloomberg was saying that when we talked to him. Remember that he didn't think that was going to be the best position for him.
He did say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you got to start. You got to wonder about him at shortstop. I mean, I can understand the Yankees, especially in a 60-game season. Let's take a look at him at shortstop and see how it goes. That I can understand, but long term, I don't know if you really want to have him at shortstop. The only thing is where you can't let DJ LeMahieu go, and Gio Urshela is too good a player to just get rid of. You don't want to do that either. But Gleyber Torres is an excellent second baseman. And he's a pretty good third baseman too. He's just not really a good shortstop. He just doesn't seem to have the body for a shortstop.
Bruins draw closer to the Canes. It's now 2-1.
Okay.
10 minutes to go in the game. Lord Walker, I know you're talking about Bills and hockey, but can you circle back to the Bigs the Bigs don't work comment and look at the list I gave in defense, and it does and can. When has it worked? You said Duncan and Robinson, which we brought up, and that worked for 1 year. Then David Robinson retired. But where are all these bigs playing together? Where are these 2 center lineups throughout NBA history that work? I'd love to hear them.
You're not going to hear them because they don't really exist. Okay, when Wilt Chamberlain was on the Sixers, he didn't have another center. Okay, when he was on the Lakers, they didn't have another center. When Kareem was the center,
did you ever put another center on the floor with Shaq?
No. Did you ever put another center on with Kareem?
No.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You know what? As I said, the Knicks had 2 Hall of Fame centers on their team at the same time, and they were a last place team. And
so I don't know where all these 2 center lineups you keep talking about are winning championships and winning games and being successful duos, but I don't see it. I don't see it at all. And the only reason Al Horford is a 76er is because he had Joel Embiid and the Sixers number. So they overpaid to get make Boston weaker and themselves stronger, so they thought. But all they did was make themselves worse. And now they're stuck with Horford because no one's going to trade for him.
No, they're stuck with him.
It's just so frustrating. It's just so frustrating to watch the Sixers. Because, it's just such a meh team. Tobias is meh. Richardson's meh. Simmons is hurt. Embiid's playing great, but, he can't do it by himself in the playoffs.
No, he can't. And, again, it's the Sixers defensively have got to get – they got to get a spur in their saddle and start picking it up and playing harder.
Right. Did you see the very beginning of the game, Frank?
Pardon?
Did you see the very beginning of the Sixers game?
I did, yes.
Who started?
I believe it was Joel.
Right.
Al.
So he started the two centers over Matisse?
Yeah, he started over Matisse, yeah. Because Matisse didn't come in until a few. Let me just double check.
But I don't understand that. I don't understand how you can start Embiid and Horford. That doesn't make sense to me. Jason,
it was Joel, Horford,
for this series and bench Shake and starts the bottom.
Yeah.
Jason, if you bench, first off, you can't bench Shake. He's your only point guard. How are you going to bench Shake? Who's going to bring the ball up?
You can't. That's the whole problem.
Ben's hurt, and you want to bench Shake. Who's playing point guard? Josh Richardson? I can't stand Josh Richardson dribbling the basketball around. It's not his strong suit. He's an athlete slasher. He's not a primary ball handler. Tobias Harris
they're kind of stuck with him with Shake Milton getting the ball. I mean, that's
the Bruins have just tied the hockey game, Brad, with 9 minutes and 50 seconds to go.
How about that?
So that was quick. They notched a power play goal, and now they just got a sweet one-timer. A sweet one-timer to tie it. So, boy, I tell you, man, these teams coming back from COVID, like the Hurricanes and then the Canadians, they're pesty. They're pests.
Well, the Hurricanes are actually a very good team, and let's not forget, last year they were in the conference finals before they lost to the Bruins in the conference finals. I mean, they were very good last year, and they've got a lot of real good players on their team. I mean, I thought that they actually underachieved a little bit during the season, to be honest with you. So they got some players. I mean, Sebastian Aho is a tremendous player. And their defense, and they got a real tough defense.
See, now Lord is confused, and he's been a great commenter all night. Those are not two. Paul Gasol in 09-12 was a stretch 4. Rasheed Wallace was a stretch 4. Kevin Garnett was not a traditional center. He is a power forward. Joel Embiid,
considering them center, those guys aren't centers.
Joel Embiid and Al Horford are both centers.
Now,
a power forward. Al Horford is not a power forward. Rasheed Wallace is a power forward. Pau Gasol is a power forward.
Well, okay, let me ask you.
Giannis and Brook Lopez. Giannis is not a center. Come on, Lord. Come on, Lord.
Well, the Milwaukee center's the guy they got from the Nets, right?
Right. He's the center. Giannis is not a center.
No, he's the power forward.
Giannis is just Giannis. Giannis is just a basketball player.
He's not a center though.
He's a freak.
Yeah, he can play anywhere, but he's not necessarily.
than Rasheed Wallace. I mean, Ben Wallace, all he was good for is protecting the rim. Rasheed Wallace is not a center. Come on, Lord.
Oh, Rasheed Wallace was a tremendous player.
Yeah, but he wasn't a center.
No, he was a power forward.
He's a stretch four, power forward who could bow you up and really get things done from a rebounding standpoint.
He could score too. He had a nice 3-point shot.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a real good player, but he wasn't a center either.
Kevin Garnett is not a center. Kevin Garnett's not a center in his entire career.
No, Kevin Garnett was a power forward.
Come on, Lord.
Yeah, no.
It's not. Those are front courts that mesh together. Those front courts have a center who was a defense rebounder and a dominant power forward who could score and shoot the basketball. Joel Embiid is not a power forward. Al Horford is not a power forward.
No, they're both
centers. They cannot be on the court at the same time.
Neither one of them can handle the ball all that well. That's the other problem. I mean, either one of them, if they put the ball on the floor, it's an adventure.
I like Horford and Embiid starting if you are going to pound the ball inside all game, but the Sixers offense with Embiid and Horford doesn't work because they both want to shoot threes. Anthony Addies, that is absolutely correct. Joel Embiid won't park his ass in the post consistently and do work. That's my biggest criticism of Joel Embiid. Always has been, always will be until he Joel Embiid should pound the Celtics into submission with low post offense. He should take over the entire game. The Celtics don't have anyone that can stop him on the block.
No. The Sixers could score 50 points a game if he stays down low and they just feed him the ball. Because basically what would end up happening is they would have to double and triple team him, and then you'd have guys wide open for 3-point shots, or even mid-range shots, because nobody on that Celtic team can guard him, and nobody can take him inside either. I mean,
why not? Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. No, it'd be a complete mismatch.
Right. Jason Bennett, what lineup gives us the best chance to win this series? Wow, Boston just scored again.
3-2 Boston, huh?
3-2 Boston.
Well, at least their baseball team won't win, Rob.
Yeah.
Although I'll tell you what,
there's still 8 minutes left. It can happen, but all the momentum is in the Bruins' favor.
The Yankees' little experiment with
Marchand, it caromed off the board. I don't know if you have the game on it. Caromed off the board somehow, and Marchand, he got like a moment breakaway, and he lit the lamp.
Well, that's what Marchand does. In addition to being one of the biggest annoyances in the game, he's also a really good goal scorer. Yeah, that's one thing he does too.
Getting back to Jason Bennett's question, what lineup gives you the best chance to win this series? It's you take Horford out and you put Matisse in. You have to.
I'll tell you what, that guy Burke played a heck of a game today. Maybe you give him a little playing time.
Yeah, but I mean, then you have him and Horford as like your first guys in off the bench.
Horford, the only time Horford should be in is when they need to give Embiid a rest. That's really the only time he should be in. It's not a fit. And just because you spend a lot of money on the guy doesn't mean you should be playing him if they can't win with him out there. And that seems to be a problem.
Don19 with a baseball comment. How about the Oakland A's, Brad? 16-6.
They're good. They're good. You and I have been touting them all spring training.
They can really hit, and Liam Hendricks is a tremendous closer.
Oh, absolutely.
Quite a bullpen.
Absolutely. I mean, That's a good team down there.
Bob Brinkman, Jimmy Lynam was all over Embiid, going low in post game show. I mean, maybe Joel Embiid will listen to Jimmy Lynam because he doesn't listen to Brett Brown.
No, it seems like he doesn't listen to anybody.
I'm just like, I don't want to throw in the towel with the Sixers because it's only one game, but it's exhausting to be a fan of this basketball team. It's absolutely exhausting. It's a constant agita. It's just.
Well, you go on the other Philadelphia team's bandwagon, the Flyers, because I'll tell you what, they look like the real deal, and they are going to be a very, very tough out in the playoffs. I see worst case scenario with them.
Do you think they win tomorrow?
Yeah, I think they're
going to win. They're going to Flyers. Their next game is going to be tomorrow at 3.
Yeah, I know. I think they're going to win the series.
They have to shake this power play.
I think they win in 6. I do think Montreal will win another game, but I think they'll win in 6.
Well, I said for the series that if this series goes more than 5, I'd be concerned. So I'm hoping that.
Yeah, but you know what? I wouldn't be that concerned because of the fact that they all had a good rest, with the COVID virus and nobody playing all that team. They got a rest. So it's not as important to finish these early series off quickly as it would be normally. Because normally if you go 6 in the first round with an inferior team, that's trouble because then you're wasting way too much energy after playing 82 games, and it bodes very badly for the rest of your playoff run normally. But this year you had 4 months off, so I mean it's not really that big a deal. I think it might be better. They might be better if they play 6 games because I think they get more in rhythm. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Well, the Bruins just scored again, Brad.
Again, so what's it, 4-2 now?
4-2. They've scored 4 goals in the past 5 minutes.
So the Hurricanes have had a complete meltdown.
They've had a complete meltdown. They were just up 2-0, and now they blink their eyes and they're down 4-2.
Wow. And to think that when I had turned it off, it was 2-0. I figured out the Bruins are in trouble. They're going to have trouble getting out of the first round. If they do get out of the first round, they're never going to. I still don't think that they're going to beat Tampa in the second round if Pasternak is not healthy. And
so, Brett, how do you see these series playing out? How do you see these series playing out? These hockey series playing out?
Well, right now, I think the Flyers win in 6. I think that the Islanders finish off the Capitals. You know what? I think the Capitals are going to have some pride and win a game. I'd say the Islanders win.
But the Islanders are going to advance ultimately.
The Islanders are going to advance. It's going to be the Islanders and the Flyers, which I think is going to be a 7-game series. I think that's going to be a real tough series because Barry Trotz is a real good coach. And I think that the Islanders are going to give the Flyers a lot of trouble, but I do think the Flyers will beat them. I think Tampa Bay will beat Boston, and then Tampa Bay and Philly are going to be in the conference finals. And right now, that's a toss-up. That's a complete toss-up. If Stamkos plays, I like Tampa Bay. If Stamkos doesn't play, if Stamkos plays and he's 100% healthy, I like Tampa Bay. If he's not, I think the Flyers go to the finals. I don't know. I
thought it was going to be the Flyers and the Avalanche before. What do you make of this? What do you make of this Dallas-Calgary series out west? It's 2-2. It's been great hockey.
Yeah, it has. But you know what? I don't think either one of those teams are going anywhere. I just don't think Dallas has enough offense.
Yeah, but someone's going to win that series, Brad.
I like Dallas. I just think Dallas has better goaltending, and I think they find a way to win.
Ben Bishop. They still got Ben Bishop down there, right?
Well, I think what's his name? Is Zubitov or whatever his name is. I think he's been playing goal for them. But I think Dallas is going to win the series. I just don't think that they go anywhere after that. I don't like the Flames. The Flames goaltending situation. I really don't. I don't think that they advanced. And I told you all along, loved Colorado. Haven't changed my mind at all about them. Colorado's biggest foe is going to be the Knights, the Golden Knights. You know, St. Louis and Vancouver. I think St. Louis comes back and wins that series. So at this point, so it would be with the Golden Knights and the Blues, and then Colorado against Dallas. Colorado will kill Dallas because Dallas just doesn't have. They have the two big forwards, but you know what? They don't have enough to keep up enough offense to keep up with Colorado. Colorado is loaded. I mean, they have four lines that can score, and they have Grubauer is tremendous in goal, and they've got good defensemen. I mean, that team is tough. I don't see how Dallas could beat them. The only team that I could see out there that could actually beat them maybe the Golden Knights because of the style they play, and they do have enough guys who can score on that team. But I think right now Colorado is clearly the favorite in the West. And I think in the East right now, as it stands, the Flyers and Tampa Bay are clearly the co-favorites in the East.
Jason, they won all the loose balls, seemed lighter. Started to get game good. It had good 6-minute stretch in the third, and then went back to the team we normally see against the Celtics. But I mean, look, every team in the NBA is going to put a good 6 minutes together and make a run. Like that doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't make me optimistic about this series or game 2 or anything like that, because they put together a good 6 minute stretch in the third quarter. Like,
well,
who cares? They outplayed the Celtics for six of the 48 minutes. I'm supposed to feel excited about that?
Before you throw in the towel, let's see what adjustments Brett Brown makes. When's their next game?
Great. Wednesday at 6:30.
Okay, so that's 2 days. So
yeah, but Brett's not going to make any adjustments. He's going to do the same stupid bullshit he did this game, and they're going to get killed just like they did in this game.
Again, if that happens, then you know what? He's going to be gone at the end of the series.
And Bob Rickman said Embiid was working down low, but they didn't throw him the ball. Yeah. I mean, look, I was working. I had it on the radio. I had it on the TV for most of the second half. I didn't notice that nuance of the game, but if he's working hard down low to get open and be on the block, and they're not getting him the basketball, then shame on them. Shame on them.
And I have the Yankee game on.
Lord Walker, 2012, Doc moved Garnett to center after All-Star game. Doc said he wanted to play him at center from day one. She listed his power forwards, has played center, and Atlanta Pistons, 7 good. Gasol at San Antonio listed as center power forward. Yeah, but I mean, come on. What they're listed as and what you actually watch them do and play during the game, like, come on, Lord. I mean, like, I don't know. If you want to classify Kevin Garnett and Rasheed Wallace as centers, I think you're flat wrong, and you need to have your head examined. But if that's what you want to do, and think that a 2-center lineup with Joel Embiid and Al Horford can work, then God bless you. God bless you. You're stone wrong. Joel Embiid and Al Horford can't play together. They shouldn't be starting. Matisse should be starting. This team should be going small and trying to play better perimeter defense on Wednesday night.
That's
so,
exactly what they need to do.
If you want to start Horford and Embiid and think that that's Duncan and Robinson, then that's everything that's wrong with the Sixers fans. That's everything that's wrong with the process.
You're also talking when you're talking about Duncan and Robinson, you're also talking about two Hall of Famers. Horford is not a Hall of Famer, guys.
So, Brad, Carolina has pulled the goalie and has scored a goal with 1:27 left.
Yeah, I got to put this on.
So it is now 4-3 Bruins, which I would assume that the Hurricanes would keep the goalie pulled.
Oh yeah, he's not going back in. Yeah, they're. Actually, I just saw the goal. That is not Halak's fault, for sure. So
No.
now it's game on, and
We got live reactions. Boston, Carolina, with the nightcap. I mean, I guess the Canucks and the Blues, they're playing in Vancouver. So
yeah, that game's on at 10:30.
yes.
But I'll tell you what, this series has been very entertaining. These two teams, they both played.
I'll tell you what, this is the first I'm watching it. The last third period here, and what a hockey game this has been.
Well, they've all been like that. The first three games were like this. I mean, these two teams are playing great hockey against each other. And we'll see. I mean, Carolina can score. Well, they've got to get guys in front of the net. They've got to do that. That almost went in. Wow.
The Bruins could be in worse shape in terms of a backup goalie than Yaroslav Halak. I mean, didn't he take the Canadians deep into the playoffs when Carey Price was in his slump?
Halak?
Yeah.
He played for the Islanders.
He played for the Canadians too, didn't he?
No, I think he was with the Islanders. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because he got signed.
You're talking a long time ago, though.
Yeah.
You're talking like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
He was with the he was with the Islanders for a long time.
Yeah, he went Canadians, then Islanders, and then
he started with the Canadians.
5.
Yeah, he went to the Islanders, I think, in 14 or maybe 13 or 14.
He played well when Carey Price was in his little funk.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Carolina's gonna
commanding 3-1 series lead.
Yeah, I'd say that this series is that's
a complete gut punch for the Hurricanes.
Well, that's a game that they
they blink their eyes. They're down 4-2. They still don't know what happened.
Yeah, well, the Bruins tidal wave came and they couldn't stop them. I mean, you got to give the Bruins a lot of credit. Without their top player and arguably the top goal scorer in the NHL, they've been able. And they've done this now for the last 3 games. They've been able to win 2 of the last 3 games without Pastrnak. That's you got to give them a lot of credit. And I'll tell you what, if I'm the Bruins with a 3-1 lead, I don't even use Pastrnak in Game 4. I'm sorry, in Game 5. I give him another game rest, and then hopefully.
So there's the bracket. There's the bracket there, the Eastern Conference bracket on. So the Flyers would have to play Tampa in the next round.
Yeah, but they don't. They reseed in the NHL. They would reseed. I don't think it goes like that. I think they reseed everybody. They've always reseeded.
I thought they reseeded after the qualifying round, and that was it.
No, they don't. It's not tournament style like the NBA. They actually reseed after each round. I think.
Okay. All right, I'll take your word.
Yeah, unless they change it this year. I mean, maybe they did, but
so Brad, how do you see the Flyers game playing out tomorrow? Flyers play tomorrow at 3.
I think what I think they're going to play a lot better, and I think they're going to win the game fairly easily, and have a 3-1 lead. And then I think Montreal, will have the all hands on deck game. And make it 3-2, and then the Flyers go out and win again. See, it just seems to me like the Flyers the first time all season, really, they had a little adversity, and look at how they played. They played arguably their best defensive game of the season. I mean, that was a masterpiece. I mean,
So do you think they respond and actually score a power play goal tomorrow afternoon?
yes, I think they come out. I think they come out flying tomorrow afternoon.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Brad again? I can't hear you.
Oopsies. All right.
Oh, there you are, Frank.
Yeah. Accidentally had the.
Frank, what do you think? Because we've been going back and forth with the two center approach.
Okay.
Where do you stand on this? Like, Horford and Embiid, they can't play together.
They cannot play together.
Starting.
They cannot play together. If you want to have Al Horford play, he's got to come off the bench as your sixth man.
And then you start Matisse.
You either start Matisse, yes. But looking at how this team has been performing this past season, it's been very disappointing.
Are you making a change at coach if this keeps going the way?
Absolutely. I would make the change.
Right? He's got to be done. I mean, can't.
He's done. And I said this on The Fix on Wednesday. I think after this series, I mean, assuming that the Sixers don't advance to the next round, this will probably be the last time we see Brett Brown as the Sixers head coach.
That's music in my ears. But why do I think this team's going to completely wuss out and keep him around?
I would not be surprised.
Because of COVID and the Ben
right. Well, because I know they're going to try to factor in, they got hurt, so Brett Brown didn't have enough time to get this team to mesh together. I'm tired of that excuse. He needs to go. It's been 2 years too late. It's 2 years too late for Brett Brown as your head coach. And when it comes down to, should we break up Ben and Joel? We shouldn't. For the first thing that needs to happen is
you got to see what a new coach do with them.
You got to have the new coach, see if that works out. If it doesn't work out, then you ship one of them. Now, who would you ship out? I don't know. That's the other issue is who are you going to ship?
I'd be more inclined to ship out Ben or ship out Joe because I think you would get a much bigger return for Joel. If you're going to shake things up, go ahead and shake things up.
Exactly with Joel. But when it comes to trading Ben, the other thing is he's got that poison pill extension kicking in next season. And teams are going to be pretty hesitant when it comes to that contract. So you got to trade a lot in order to get rid of Ben.
Do you think they rebound on Wednesday evening, Frank? Or do you think that this is just going to be death by 1,000 cuts?
Yeah, I think
another rival.
I think it's going to be Celtics in 5. I think the Sixers do steal a game, maybe game 2. I feel like
I'll tell you
knowing how the Sixers team works, I think they will take game 2, but the rest of the series it's going to be all Celtics.
Well, I'll tell you what, they better play. They better figure out how to cover Tatum and Brown before.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, the perimeter defense was atrocious tonight. I mean, I thought Josh Richardson was supposed to be able to D up.
Yep.
Like he didn't do a damn thing tonight.
The turnovers, that was another killer thing. I mean,
and like Shake, I like Shake. Yeah. I think he could be a good player in this league, but I mean,
absolutely.
I think he can start at point guard on a contending team in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's not ready to be the starter yet. I mean, he should be playing off the bench, but not as a starter.
I can't believe they fooled me.
Yeah.
I did the show with Tom and Greg on Wednesday. AM and the PM. I was all jacked up on Ben. I thought he was going to shoot the ball.
Absolutely, I was jacked too.
I thought he was going to embrace his role as like the point power forward and still be able to push the ball in transition. And the Sixers were really going to, maybe win a series, maybe, maybe do something crazy. But I mean, I'm so just disappointed in the way Ben. Yeah, he got hurt, and that's one thing. But
his impact.
He got hurt because he was sour. He got hurt because he was playing like a sourpuss because he wasn't the point guard.
Right. And of course, when we were giving our bold predictions, I had Ben Simmons having a 40-point game and shooting a couple threes. We thought we were going to see all these videos, and of course, don't believe the videos. But
what do you think they do? Do you think his social media people just like he takes 1-3, like fooling around, and they just like put it on loop or something?
Yeah, probably. They probably they just probably do that, and it's to the point where like it's comical. Where it's like, all right, are we going to finally see it happen? And then does nothing in the 2.5 games he was out on the floor. This team, man, and BB saying, "Oh, we gotta see Ben make more shots from the yard."
Me and Lord Walker in the comments, we disagreed on the two-centered approach. I mean, I don't understand how he can classify Rasheed Wallace and Kevin Garnett and Pau Gasol as centers. Those guys.
I see Pau as a center in certain situations, but I mean, for me, I always saw Pau as a power forward, and then whenever
Pau was
somebody
a point forward facilitator, he was great. He was a center.
But like whenever a true center was off the court, he would eventually do a little bit of that center role for Pau.
But what Lord did say that I agree with is this team has no leader.
Yeah.
Joe's not a leader. Joe's a great player, but Joe's not a leader.
There's no leader, and of course
Ben's a great player. Ben's not a leader.
Yeah.
Not a leader. Horford, Tobias, and Richardson, they really aren't good enough to be the leader.
Right. And of course, the true leader that you had during this process era was Jimmy Butler, and of course, look where he's at now.
It irks me to my core that he's not on this basketball team.
Exactly. I thought
I don't understand it at all.
Jimmy and Tobias. I think that core should have been still together. It's crazy.
Well, like, what's the point? What's the difference if you give Tobias, you give Jimmy his max, you give Tobias,
right,
like a little bit more than you gave Horford, but like a contract on that framework, and you have all four of them.
Yeah.
And like, who gives a shit if you're getting Jimmy for 4 years or 5 years?
Right.
Like,
I mean, you're going to have a true leader on the court.
You're going for it for the next 2 to 3, 4 years.
I mean, if we had Jimmy on the court, this team
Jaylen Brown's not dropping 30.
Yeah. We would be nice and comfortable and not worrying about an early playoff exit as the underdog.
It's true. Well, we got Flyers tomorrow. We got Sixers Wednesday. Phillies Red Sox tomorrow at Fenway Park. Hopefully the Phillies can keep the train rolling against a bad Boston Red Sox team.
Yep.
Brad can't rejoin us. He's lost his connection. I'm Rob for Brad Ryer. Frank Vesby, great job producing.
Thank you.
Next Monday. We'll see you later.